Hello, I'm Reverend Karen Davis of First Christian Church. Oftentimes, when we hear the word servant, we think of someone who's waiting on you, who's perhaps serving you food, or maybe they're doing some type of cleaning or taking care of you in some other way. But when we think of the word servant in terms of our leadership, when we think of it in terms of our Christian life, it means that we are putting someone else's needs and concerns first. In terms of leadership, to be a servant leader, it means you're not asking anyone else to do something that you yourself wouldn't be willing to do, and that it's not power from the top down, but it's working with those around you to accomplish a common goal and task. When we think of it in terms of our Christian walk and life, it means that we are willing to think as much about the needs of someone else as ourselves. It doesn't mean that we think less of ourselves. It just means that we think of ourselves less often. That we are thinking about what can we do to help care for those around us? What can we do to meet the needs of those around us? What can we do to make life better for others? Not at our own expense necessarily, but in line with what we want for ourselves, that we should also be wanting and desiring that for others and do what we can to make sure that it happens. It's been said that many people would become a Christian if they met someone who was living out the life of a Christian. Unfortunately, oftentimes we talk more about it than we actually demonstrate it with our lives. If we are to follow the example of Jesus the Christ, then we are willing to put ourselves in his shoes and follow in that example of service above self. Being willing to care for others, being willing to get our hands dirty, being willing to give of our time, our talents, and our resources to build up the kingdom of God and build up God's people. I invite you this week to reflect on Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 12, and think of what it means in your life to think a little bit less of yourself and maybe think a little bit more of someone else and see what you can do to be of service to those around you. May we continue to follow in the footsteps of Jesus the Christ, the one who came not to be served, but to serve and even give his life on behalf of others. May we too be willing to serve and to put service above ourselves each and every day. May God guide you and equip you to be a loving and caring servant.